Once upon a time, there lived a young man who had turned to a life of theft and lived alone in a distant kingdom. He was exceptionally clever, known for stealing without ever being caught, yet deep within, he felt an emptiness, as though something essential was missing from his life. One day, while wandering through a forest, he encountered a wise and gentle monk, and in a moment of honesty, he shared his story and asked whether there was anything he could do to improve his life. The monk advised him to abandon stealing altogether, but the thief replied respectfully, "Sir, I cannot give up stealing. Please tell me something else I can practice so that I may still bring some goodness into my life." The monk reflected for a moment and then said, "If you cannot stop stealing, then do at least this: treat every woman with respect. And anyone who is not your life partner, regard as your mother or your sister." The thief thought deeply, nodded, and agreed, saying sincerely, "That much I can do." From that day forward, he continued his life as before, but carried within his heart a powerful new principle, a vow to always honor and respect women. In that same kingdom, the king had no children, and over time, his frustration turned into emotional distance from the queen. Years earlier, he had built a separate palace near the forest and sent her to live there, guarded day and night by royal soldiers, with strict orders that no one was to approach and that any unusual activity must be reported immediately. One night, as the thief passed near the palace, its beauty caught his attention, and he thought to himself that such a place must belong to a wealthy man and surely held great riches. Unaware that it was the queen's residence, he quietly entered. The guards noticed movement and informed the king, who rushed there and hid outside, peering through a window to observe what would unfold. Inside, the thief searched silently for valuables, until a noise awakened the queen. When she saw him, she did not panic, but remained calm and said, "I am the queen of this kingdom, and I know you have come here to steal." Terrified at being discovered, the young thief pleaded with her not to inform the king or the guards. The queen studied him in silence, then said softly, "I can protect you and even give you great wealth, but only if you fulfill one wish of mine." Surprised, he asked what she meant, and her words stunned him as she confessed her loneliness, her abandonment, and offered him gold and silver in exchange for physical intimacy. The thief stepped back, the monk's words echoing clearly in his mind. With dignity in his eyes, he folded his hands and said gently, "You are like a mother to me. I have made a vow to my master to treat every woman with respect, as a mother or a sister. Please ask of me only what a son may do for his mother." The queen was left speechless, her eyes filling with tears. No one had ever spoken to the queen with such reverence and dignity, and outside the chamber, the king had witnessed the entire exchange in silence. Moments later, he entered with his guards and had the thief arrested, yet instead of ordering punishment, the king found himself deeply moved by the young man's integrity and strength of character. The thief was brought to the royal palace, and though he stood there as a prisoner, the king said, "I am profoundly impressed by your values, and I do not feel compelled to punish you. Ask for anything you wish." With humility, the young man replied, "Your Majesty, if you truly wish to grant me a request, then please bring the queen back to the palace with full honor. She deserves to live with dignity, not in isolation." The king fell silent, torn by what he had seen and heard, yet a deeper truth settled in his heart. If the queen had erred, he realized, his own mistake was far greater, for he had abandoned her unjustly simply because she could not give him a child, and that realization filled him with remorse. With a heavy but honest heart, he went to the queen and invited her to return to the palace with the honor she deserved. The queen, in turn, apologized to the king for her actions and said she was ready to return, but she too had a wish. When the king asked what it was, she said, "We have no heir, and we are not growing younger. This young man who called me mother and showed me a level of respect I have never known. I wish to adopt him as our son." The king paused and reflected deeply, then thought to himself that she was right, for even he had been impressed by the young man's discipline, principles, and inner strength, qualities from which true rulers are made. And so, from that day onward, the former thief was adopted by the king and queen and declared the crown prince of the kingdom. This story reminds us that in life, we all seek progress, respect, and meaning. Yet real transformation does not come through luck or chance, but through living by clear and honest principles. Without principles, we may remain busy, but we never truly grow, moving in circles rather than forward. The thief chose just one guiding value: to respect every woman as a mother or a sister. And though it seemed small, he followed it sincerely, and that single decision changed his destiny. A man once known for stealing rose to become a crown prince, not because of power or fortune, but because of the strength of his values, and the same truth applies to our own lives. Whether you are a student, a worker, or anyone striving to grow, choose one principle that defines who you are: honesty, discipline, kindness, or self-control, and live it consistently, for even one value, faithfully practiced, brings clarity, direction, and inner strength. If this story inspired you, take a moment to reflect on the principles guiding your own life. Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you find meaning in these lessons, like the video and subscribe to the channel so we can continue exploring stories that awaken wisdom and purpose together.